Today we discuss about the reproductive health, and we divided this part into the three parts. In this part we discuss about the pulse 1, MTP and assisted reproductive technologies. Because the medical termination of pregnancy and the assisted reproductive technology is very useful in recent world. We discuss in this part different very important questions for NEET. Now in the first question, which of the following process is linked to IVF? The IVF, it is the in vitro fertilization. In the in vitro fertilization process, fertilization means the fusion of the male and female gametes. In here, the amniocentesis process, that is we are use the amniotic fluid for detect any chromosomal abnormalities. Artificial insemination means when we inject the sperm into the female body, but that time the fertilization are happening inside the female body. But in vitro means it is fertilization are happening outside the body. So the B option, frozen embryo transfer, is the right option for the first question, because where we fertilized the egg and sperm in the outside the body in the lab, then the embryo are formed, then it is transferred to the female body, right? So the B is the right option. Now we go to our second question. In which assisted reproductive technology or ART test tube baby produce is applied? In the test tube baby technique, it is the IVF technique also, where the in vitro, that means fertilization are happening outside the body and embryo are transferred in the female body or the surrogate mother for the test tube baby production. So in the question number 2, in which assisted reproductive technology ART test tube baby produce is applied? Most commonly in vitro fertilization technique for test tube baby. Okay, the clue of the question is test tube baby. Okay, so our question number 2, the right option is the C. Now go to the third question. Which of the following breeding technique is used to improve the herd genetics? In the genetics, where we are ultimately doing the variation for what? For the new variety, for new qualities. And in the genetics, we are use the breeding technique for what reason? How which of the following breeding techniques is used to improve in the herd genetics? It is artificial insemination and embryo transfer. Both is the applied in this particular field. So the both A and B, artificial insemination and embryo transfer, are the techniques which is used to improve the herd genetics. Okay, now you go to our question number 4. Dash is the stimulation to induce the development of multiple follicles of the ovaries. One mature follicles are generally produced in every month in the female bodies. But in the case of IVF, it is required to multiple ova, right? So it is multiple ova means multiple follicles are required. But how it is possible? by the ovarian hyperstimulation. That means we inject the hormones which stimulate the ovary function and they produce the multiple follicles. So in the question number 4, the ovarian hyperstimulation is the right option. Now question number 5. HCG, human chronic gonadotropin, act as an analog of which of the following hormone during the test tube baby techniques? In the test tube baby techniques, different hormones are applied in the female bodies. Generally, HCG are analog to LH or luteinizing hormones. So our option A is the right option. Now go to question number 6. In question number 6, which of the following are the determinants of IVF technique? That means in the in vitro fertilization techniques are successful or it is not successful, that is different things, but most important the embryo quality. If the embryo quality is not good, so they do not implant it or they do not transfer to baby. Another one problem like the tobacco smoking. In the case of tobacco smoking, if a girl continuously taking the tobacco, that time it is very harmful to female bodies, because in the tobacco they are increase the sensation or increase the nervous system activities, and you know the nervous system and endocrine system are related and interlinked each other. So when the stimulation are continuously applied in the female body, so hormonal system also be disturbed. So that time female body's different function also be changes. So it is also be determinants in the IVF. And body mass index. That means if the female body's weight too much high, so that time it is not taking the general pregnancy. So it is also an important factor which determines the IVF technique. After detect this type of things, we decide IVF techniques is done or not. Okay, so our option D, all of the above, is the right option in question number 6. Now go to the question number 7. MOET. That means that is very important techniques for hybridization. You know, hybridization is important technique for production is better qualities of animals, and in hybridizations of cattle, it is MO, multiple ovulation embryo transfer, is generally applied in the hybridization of cattle. Mainly it is applied in the cow. So our option D, hybridization is the cattle, is the right option for question number 7. Hybridization in cattle. Now we go to our next question, question number 8. Which of the following drugs is used for the purpose of increasing the chance of the conception by IVF? In the case of IVF, nicotine or mescaline, it is most stimulated, and mescaline is one psychological drugs. But in the case of the IVF, aspirin are used for the purpose of increasing the chance of the conceptions by the IVF. So our option B, aspirin, is the right option for question number 8. Now we go to our question number 9. In question number 9, the tigger shot of the HCG during the test tube baby techniques is given for, you know, the ovarian stimulation is must be necessary in the case of IVF, right? So the ACG or the tiger shot, that means it is applied in the female bodies by the injection. It is required for the ovulation, for multiple ovulation, right? So the option C is the right option for question number 9. Now question number 10. During test tube baby formation, the injection of ACG confers the risk of, if you are given the more ACG, right, and ACG are related to ovarian hyperstimulation. So if we inject the more amount of ACG, so it is maybe for risk for ovarian hyperstimulation of syndrome. So our option, the C, is the right option for question number 10. Question number 11. In reproductions of a test tube baby, in reproduction of the test tube baby, that means in the test tube baby where it is produced, the fertilization is done outside the body, right? It is also be called the IVF, that means in vitro fertilization. So our option A, fertilization is done outside the body, A is the right option. Now go to the question number 12. The first case of IVF and embryo transfer techniques success was reported by two famous scientists, Patrick Steptoe and Robin Edwards is the most famous scientist for the treatment of infertility, and both the scientists at first given the techniques IVF and ET techniques. So our option A is the right option for question number 12. Now go to the question number 13. In which methods collected ova and sperm are placed inside the woman's oviduct? You know, the woman oviduct, it is ultimately collected ova and sperm are placed. Ova and sperm are related to what? It is the gamete, right? Gamete are placed inside the human or woman's oviduct. Then it is fertilized. So these techniques are related to gamete intrafallopian transfer. So our option D, gamete intrafallopian transfer, is the right option. Now go to question number 14. A man with spinal cord injuries become the father because of, you know, spinal cord is a part of CNS, that means the central nervous system, but central nervous system are control all activities of the sperm, right, and all activities of the human bodies also. So most commonly, if the spinal cord injuries are happening, then it is required to ICSI, that means intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Then the ovum and sperm are taken outside the body, right? Because that time the sperm and ovum are fused together and then it is inserted to mother's body or woman's body. So our option, the ICSI, is the right option for question number 14. Now go to the next question. The success rate of IVF depends on the maternal age, that is the age of the mother, and cause of the infertility, what is the main cause, why they ultimately do not pregnant normally, and embryo status, that means what is the embryo structure and how they are implanted or not. So all of the above must be important for the success rate of the IVF. So D is the right option for question number 15. Now question number 16. The egg is returned to the mother's body during the test tube baby in the formation when it is reached In IVF, the fertilization is happening outside the body in the test tube or in the petri dish, but it is transfer 8 or 16 cell stage again in the female body for their next stage or the implantation. So the 8 or the 16 stage is the right option for question number 16. Now go to our next question. This is a very important question for NEET also. The first test tube baby was, this is a famous woman in the world, that is a Louise Brown, right? So you are the first test tube baby in the world, the Louise Brown. So our option B is the right option. Question number 18. Now the test tube baby, his techniques is dependent on, most commonly the test tube baby, or it is called the IVF. That means it is ultimately dependent on the in vitro fertilization, that is related to external fertilization, but it is happening the laboratory and well equipped condition. So it is called the IVF or in vitro fertilization. So our option B is the right option. Now go to our next question, question number 19. The liquid used to preserve the embryo during the test tube baby techniques, that is most important, and this is also we call the cryopreservation, and where the liquid nitrogen are used, right? So the C is the right option for question number 19. Now go to our question number 20. Transfer of ovum from donor to recipient, oviduct. So that means the gametes are taken and it is transferred to female body. That means in the oviduct. So it is related to GIFT. That means gamete intrafallopian transfer. So our option A is the right option. Now go to the question number 21. IVF means, this is a very common question. It is the in vitro fertilization. That means fertilization are happening outside the body in the laboratory. So IVF or question number 8 or 21A is the right option. Now the question number 22. Cryosurgery, that is related to cryopreservation, right? In the cryosurgery, the liquid nitrogen are used. Liquid nitrogen. And the cryopreservation, liquid nitrogen are used for preservation purpose. So in the question number 22, D, liquid nitrogen is the right option. Now go to the question number 23. Who developed the test tube baby techniques? That is also very important question we already discussed. So both A and B, Edwards and the step 2 is A and B. That means the option D is the right option for question number 23. Question number 24. Babies born through dash are called the test tube baby techniques. This is the in vitro fertilization techniques are also be called the test tube babies technique. Right? So in vitro fertilization, option B is the right option. Now question number 25. In the production of test tube baby, you know test tube babies mean fertilization are external, right? And fetus formation is internal, because the embryo are transferred again into the female body for the development. So our option B, fertilization is external and fetus formation is internal. The option B is the right option for question number 25. Now question number 26. The egg is fertilized by sperm during the test tube baby formation, but in where? The question number 26. The egg is fertilized by sperm during the test tube baby formation in vitro. That means in the laboratory, right? So our option B is the right option. Generally in the test tube baby, right? Test tube baby, this technique are also we call IVF, in vitro fertilization. So our option B is the right option for question number 26. Okay. So Thank you very much. You get a success key for your NEET exam. Best of luck. Thank you. Thank you very much.